It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer, and welcome to the Dartmoor Brewery Showcase. I visited Princetown, one of the highest parts of England in Dartmoor, UK, on August bank holiday. Went on holiday, visited some family members down there, and we had a great time, really great time. It was my first time up on the moors. I seen Dartmoor Prison, and of course, while in Princetown, seeing the famous Dartmoor Prison, Princetown Prison, and a couple of the pubs, nice chip shop up there, very small town, but of course they had a brewery. This brewery set up in 1994 in the back of one of the pubs. I can't remember the name of the pub now, but it had a kind of like a back room back building if you like, where they opened up a microbrewery in 1994. Fast forward 2024, they got a purpose-built beautiful brewery up there with a lovely shop on the front, and we went in and I did the whole kind of tourist thing. I bought a bottle opener, I bought a pint glass, I bought the t-shirt, and I bought 4 of their beers. So we start off with the lowest ABV. This is Dartmoor IPA, 4% ABV, beer with altitude. Then we have 2 beers at 4.4% ABV, one called Dragon's Breath, and one called Legend Ale. And then we have there, of course, with the prison being up there, we have their very famous Jail Ale. So I stayed in a little town about 40 minutes away from Princetown, about 20 minutes outside of Tavistock. I can't remember the name. It was a tiny little place. Anyway, there's a pub there called the Manor, and I was drinking in the Manor, and I was drinking pints of Jail Ale, 4.8%. It was beautiful. It was creamy and lovely and rich and fantastic. Cask beer, pulled cask beer. And the other beer was the Legend. I was drinking the Legend there as well. But we got the bottles to show you. Let's get them out into a glass and see what we get. I think what I'm going to do is pour them all out first. So, price on these beers. I've just been on their website, because it's now the middle of September. I was there 3 weeks ago, and I can't remember what I paid for a beer 3 weeks ago. I've just been on their website, and 8 bottles comes in at between £16 and £16.50. So that's about £2 a bottle, which I think for this day and age is rather good, 2024. So beer in the glass, golden coloured ale, small amounts of carbonation, not much in the way of a head. And there's a slight haze in there. Beer number 2, let's open up the Legend. Now, you might see the condensation on the bottle. I've had the bottle out of the fridge, or the 4 bottles out of the fridge, for about 40 minutes. I've given this good time to warm up, but still enjoy it cold. I'm basically drinking it at about 9 degrees, which for me is the perfect temperature to experience all of the malt qualities in the beer. So, here we go then. A rich copper coloured beer, good levels of carbonation. Again, not much in the way of head retention. Next beer, Dragon's Breath. Now I think this is a stout. So I'm going to pour the stout in the Dartmoor, but I'll have to swap hands. There we go. For the logo. This is the glass I bought. Oh no, it's It's not quite a stout, but it's definitely a darker ale. Look how rich and lovely that looks. So this is the first beer with a good, decent kind of head retention on it. Look at that. Perhaps every one of their beers needs to be poured into a Dartmoor Brewery glass. Last but not least, Jail Ale. I was loving this beer on cask. It was fantastic in the manner. Really, really lovely, lovely. Beautiful beer. Of course, it's kind of keg beer in the bottle, isn't it? It's going to be different from the cask version. Good carbonation, very small one finger, white head. Right. Let's drop all the way back then to the 4% ABV IPA. Looks like juice, doesn't it? Looks like some kind of pineapple juice or something like that, and mango juice. Good malty body to it. Biscuity, bready, and a kind of zesty hop aroma to it. Lemons and grapefruit. Smells okay. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. It's nice that. There's something about beer though. It's nicely carbonated. It's very difficult to get over the fact that their beers have lost their head really quickly. Beer is definitely in the tasting. You taste with your mouth. You're looking with your eyes. If I was to close my eyes and drink this beer and forget about the fact that the head's disappeared, then it's a really solid kind of British style IPA. It's zesty, bit of grapefruit, bit of biscuit in there. But even for me, after reviewing over 10,000 beers, I know for a fact there's nothing wrong with this beer. I know for a fact it's just a visual thing. But even after 10,000 beers, there's that nagging, like, why isn't it ahead, or what's happened to this beer, or whereas, you know, the reality is there's nothing wrong with the beer. The beer is absolutely fantastic. It's really good quality beer. It's biscuity, it's bready, it's hoppy on the back end, it's nicely balanced, decent IPA. I mean, in the world of IPA these days, the way the Americans and the new world kind of IPAs are generally 5.5 to 6% ABV and above, things have kind of, like, mindset has changed. This is definitely traditional British IPA at around 4% ABV. I'm going to get in and rate these beers straight away, I think. I'm not going to drop back over them because you may be looking for a specific beer that you want me to taste and review. So I'm going to go straight into that and say it's a very, very solid 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Next beer, where do we go next? So Legend is this one here. Is slightly lighter than the other one. Dragon's Breath. Legend is slightly lighter in colour to Dragon's Breath, so we're going to go Legend. Again, looks like juice. Good levels of small amounts of carbonation. Maybe if it kind of means that much to people that they have a head on their beer, maybe it's something Dartmoor Brewery look at in the future in how they can try and produce a head on their beer. Maybe they can look at what they can maybe change a little bit. Maybe some oat. Oat generally does the trick. A little bit of oat in your beer, that kind of gets things going, and that creates a little bit of a creamy head retention there. This smells good though. Oh, this is my type of beer. Dark, warming, rich. Oh yeah, that's splendid. Rich, warming, nutty, biscuity. Dartmoor's a cold place. So we went walking on the moor. My goodness me. 1 minute it was blazing sunshine. The next minute, and I was in shorts and a t-shirt. The next minute the wind come in and the rain come in from nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. It was like, whoa, what's happening here? And it was like a winter's day. The wind was blowing up and the rain was hitting my face. We got back down to the car. We're walking around all the tin mines up there, all the tower buildings and whatnot. We got back to the car, packed the car up outside where we were staying, and we walked to the manor. And after being like cold like that, I was drinking a pint of Legend. It was just, well, that is Legend, yeah. I was drinking a pint of that. And it was the most rewarding, lovely pint of beer that I ever had, because I'd been through that kind of like, oh, it's beautiful, it's August, sunny day in high altitude, and then the next thing you know, the wind and the rain. Oh, so yeah, it was the nicest pint of beer I'd probably ever experienced at that time, just sitting there in a warm pub. Lovely. Rich, biscuity, bready, warming, good mouthfeel, nice bitterness on the back end, a little bit of sweetness to begin with, lots of layers of malt in this beer. Yeah, that's nice. That's more like an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. I'm gonna drop back to JL Ale now. JL Ale is 4.8% ABV. And the reason why I'm going for a higher ABV beer is because of the colour. I'm leaving the Dragon's Breath, which is the darkest beer. I'm leaving that till last because of the colour. There's going to be a different malt flavour coming through in that beer. So here we go then, the famous JL Ale. How good is it compared to the cask version? The cask version was splendid. Yep, again, a little bit roasty, a little bit toasty. Lovely quality dark malts coming through. It's a different beer. It's a different beer from the cask version. I'll be honest, drinking the cask version in the manor, drank pint after pint after pint. It was a much, I'm going to say it was much more of a well-rounded beer, had more mouthfeel, it was more creamy, more rich. This is nice. This is nice, the kind of bottle keg version. It's just a shame they can't replicate that cask beer into bottle. They could bottle condition it, but that's another story. A little bit sweet, a little bit sweeter than the other beers. Less of that kind of rich dark malt coming through, more of a biscuity flavour, nice bitterness, bit of sweetness. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right in the bottle. 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. Right, Dragon's Breath. We give 8 out of 10, didn't we? We give 8 out of 10 for the legend. So Dragon's Breath. Here we go. A little bit roasty, a little bit toasty. Oh yeah. Beautiful. Lovely hop flavours coming through. Dark berry hop flavours. Oh. Rich. There's some licorice coming through. Less malt than I was presuming. I mean, when I say less malt, I mean like I was expecting to taste a little bit of roasted malt coming through in this beer, but more of a licorice, more of a kind of a plummy dark fruit licorice flavour. Again, fantastic, really fantastic. I'm going to say 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 for the Dragon's Breath. So that was a look. That was a look at the beers from Dartmoor Brewery. Very, very popular on the moors. Being that they set up in Princetown, they can kind of hit a lot of the pubs up in the moors there. And they do. Well, it's a big presence. If you ever visit the moors, Dartmoor area, most of the pubs will have either Jail Ale or Legend on cask. And if you like me, if you've been out walking on the moors and you've been hit by rain and hail and then sunshine all in one afternoon, then a pint of Jail Ale is just the ticket. I hope you liked the video. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.